Hello, welcome to our chair-based class. So it's aimed at those people that are low level exercise. Caters for everybody really. You can make it a bit more higher intensity if you want, but majority of it we're going to be doing sat in the chair. Okay, so in terms of our working position, so normally we sit on the chair with back flat against the chair or we slouch. Okay, in terms of our working position, we are going to sit slightly forward towards the front of the chair, back nice and straight. If you do feel your back pulling a little bit, you can just kind of have a bit of a rest during the exercises, 5, 10, 15 seconds, and then back to your exercising. Okay. Okay, if you do want to have some water on hand, by all means you can do. Okay, at any point if you feel as though certain exercises are a bit more difficult for you, you can just have a bit of a rest, 5, 10 seconds, and then do a movement that's a bit more comfortable for you. Okay, so we are going to get started. Okay, so first of all we are just going to go into our march. So you're just walking, kind of opposite arm to opposite leg. Excellent. Okay, well done. Just relax your legs. This time we're just going to shoulder shrugs. So we're doing a warm up here. Okay, a warm up exercise. Warming up and mobilising all the major joints in our body that we can whilst we're sat in the chair. So really big movements, trying to bring your shoulders up towards your ears. And be shrugging the shoulders like a teenage child. Excellent. One last one. Well done. Okay, just to give you a bit of a break in between the moves, we're just going to march our feet and arms. There's a bit of a break in between. Okay, next move. Keeping with the shoulders, we're just going to go into shoulder rotations. So you're kind of bringing your shoulders up, down and round. So we're going forwards. You might have started backwards, that's fine. Any direction, because we're going to go in both directions. So, if you were going forwards, we're going to start going backwards now in terms of our rotations. And if you started backwards, we're going to come forwards. So we're getting a full range of motion in that shoulder joint. Last two. Excellent, well done. Back to marching again. Okay, this time just to raise your heart rate just a little bit. We're just going to lift your knee a little bit higher and tap your knee with the opposite hand. So just a little bit of a twist from the waist as you're doing that. Remember, we're going at your own pace, what's comfortable for you. Well done. Okay, just have a little bit of a gentle march, bit of a recovery from that. We're going to go into our next exercise. This time, so we're going to go back to our arm exercises. So you're going to have your arms up to the side. Keep your feet still with this one. I'm just going to squeeze in front of you. So we're mobilising our shoulder muscles, shoulder joint, as well as your chest muscles. Okay, as we squeeze in with that movement. So we try and get your elbows to meet in the middle. Okay, some of you might do it where just your wrists are meeting. Try and really get your elbows together as close as possible. If it's not possible to bring them together, just try and get them as close as possible. Okay, for the next few movements, as you go back, a bit more of a deeper movement, so you're pushing your chest forward and trying to get your shoulder blades to meet at the back. A few more. And one last one. Excellent. Once again, just to break up the moves, just having a bit of a march in between. about 10 seconds, just to give your arms a bit of a rest and your upper body not doing too much on each body part. Okay, well done. Feet still again. Arms back up to the side, and this time we're just going to mobilise our lower back and our spine. Just doing twist to the side. And to sit nice and tall. Try not to slouch. Just a few more. Excellent, well done. Once again, back into your march just to break up the movement. And as we're doing the warm-up, we're just going to try and slowly increase our heart rate. So just to increase our heart rate a little bit more, we're just going to go back to our knee raises, opposite hand to opposite knee. Well done. Back into your march, just to break up the movement. Okay, so we've worked our shoulders, our lower back, in terms of our joints, major joints in our body. We've been working our knees and our hips as well by doing the marching. Okay, we're just going to do our ankles now. Okay, so we're just going to pick a spot on the floor, put your heel on it, and then your toe on that same spot if you can, or as near as possible. If you have a little bit of a limited range of movement, that's fine. But really try and get your toes quite down and your heel down with your toes pointing up. Well done. And the opposite leg, same again. So pick a spot on the floor, so put your heel on it and then your toes. It's hard not to slouch when you're doing this one because you're looking to the ground. So remember to try and straighten up your back into our working position. Well done. Going back to your other leg. So this time we're going to rotate the ankles. Okay, so you can go clockwise or anti-clockwise, whichever direction you prefer. But we are going to go the opposite direction to what you're doing now. Okay, going to the opposite direction. Especially if it's first thing in the morning, some of these joints can be very, very stiff, and you can feel that by getting the movement, you can slowly loosen those up. Okay, it's very important that we kind of do this, or kind of keep moving throughout the day if we can. So we're moving on to the other leg. And this particular exercise is really important, especially if you're going on a plane. Like if you've got a plane journey, you're sat there for a few hours, and keeping the ankles rotating, really important. Because not only are you just rotating the ankle, you're also using the muscles. Okay, and as the muscles are contracting, you're also pushing the blood and keeping the blood circulating around the lower leg and back up. Back into your march, just a little bit faster, and you'll probably notice after doing those mobilising exercises that you'll probably be able to do a little bit faster now as you're more loose and more flexible. Okay, we're going back into opposite hand, opposite knee. Those of you that can and want to take it up a little bit more, what you can do is you can do elbow to knee. Okay, it's more of a knee to elbow to get more of a harder workout. So so you're not really moving down, so you're not really going elbow to knee and just a little lift. You're really lifting the knee up and twisting to get your elbow towards your knee. And just back into your normal march. Excellent, really good work guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Okay, so you've all had a bit of a water break. So I hope you're nice and warm now. So we're going to go into the next part of our workout. You all did really well in that part. Let's continue with that. Okay. So for this one, we're going to do it out of the chair. Okay, so we're just going to stand up. Okay, and we're going to walk round to the back of the chair. So the chair is your support. So it's always going to be there, and we're not going to be any more than one step away from it. Okay. So with regards to the chair, in terms of support, you've got your two hands for support, okay, to make it a bit more harder or a bit more challenging. You can have just the one hand for support, or you can have two fingers, you can have just the one finger, and if you feel even more confident, you can have no fingers, you can have no hands on the chair, just knowing that the chair is there. And if you do feel a little bit unsteady, feel as though your balance is going a little bit, you can just hold on to the chair. Okay, so we're going to start off standing nice and tall. Okay, we're just going to go into our walking on the spot. Okay. Remember, the chair is always there. Okay. Into our march. We're going to start off at the bottom. We're just going to toe tap. So we're just going to tap in between the legs of the chair. You can go at your own pace, work to your own levels. Okay. Work with what's comfortable for you. Okay. Well done. Back into your march. Just this is the marching and the walking on the spot is just like a bit of a reset in between the exercises, so we can move from one exercise to the other. We've got like a bit of a point where we can kind of then move on to the next one. Okay. So before we do the tap in between the legs of the chair, this time we're going to go slightly to the side, so we're going to tap directly behind the leg of the chair. So it's like a bit of a diagonal tap. Okay, I'll show you sideways on. Okay. So I'm just going to point my toes and tap just behind the leg of the chair. Once again, remember the chair is there for support, so if you need to hold on, by all means you can do it. Back into your walk. Okay. So before we transition into the next exercise, we have a bit of a walk on the spot. So this time we're taking a tap to the side. Okay, so a lateral sideways movement. Okay, working your hips and the outer, the muscles on the outside of your leg. Okay, well done. Back into your walking on the spot. Okay, this next exercise, we're going to go a tap to the back, but we're gently going to put our heels down so we get a bit of a stretch in our calf muscle in our lower leg. Okay, I'm just going to show you sideways on. So my leg is just going back, I'm gently putting the heel down. Okay. Remember, work within your own levels and capabilities. So those of you that can, take a bit of a bigger step back. Okay, if you have balance issues or you're not as good with your balance, you can just take a smaller one so you're not taking as far a step away from the chair, which is our support. Well done. Back into your march. I want to stay sideways because our next exercise you might want to see a from a sideways point of view. Okay. Next exercise is going to do heels to bottoms. Okay. So we're bending at the knee, trying to get your heel up towards your bottom. For some of you, it might just be a small movement. That's absolutely fine. Once again, you're working to your own level, work within your own capabilities. But also at the same time, trying to get an exercise benefit, so trying to increase your heart rate, feeling a little bit warmer. Okay, we don't want it to be too easy as well. Well done. Back into your marching on the spot. Okay, if you've got some good music on, it's even better to work exercise to. A bit of music makes you work a little bit more faster and try and work to the beat as well. Next exercise is we're just going to take a step to the side of the chair and back. Remember, we're only one step away, so you can just reach over and use the chair as a support. So just doing a step touch to the side. Okay, well done. Back to your walk behind the chair before we transition to the other side. Okay, so same again, same movement but to the other side. So we're leading with both our legs, okay? So one was going to the other side, this is going to the left hand side. Get an equal workout on both sides of our body. Really good. Just a couple more. Well done. Okay, so you might have noticed that will have got your heart rate a little bit higher, working a little bit harder with that one, feeling a little bit warm. Okay, so we've done a step to one side, and we did the step to the other side. Now we're going to put the two moves together and do a double side step. So once again, you're only one step away from your chair at all times. Okay, so you've got the support there if you do need it. If you need to hold on to the chair throughout the two steps, absolutely fine. Working to your own levels. And once again, this is working a little bit harder, trying to get a bit more cardiovascular fitness as well as a physical exercise for your joints and your muscles. Well done. Back to walking behind the chair. And stand nice and tall. You can give your arms a bit of a movement as well if you're not holding on to the chair. Okay, this time we're going to stand to the side of your chair. Okay, we're going to tap the outside of your leg. And this exercise is called the Flamingo swing. Okay, because we're going to be on one leg. I've never seen a flamingo swing the leg. They stand on one leg, but it's called the Flamingo swing, this exercise. Okay, so we're kicking through with a straight leg and trying to go back as well. So we're not just going back to our standing position, we're taking the leg a little bit further back as well. Gently brushing the floor with each swing. And this particular exercise is the movement for this leg that's moving, okay, using the muscles and the joints for the movement, but also the standing leg, you'll notice that that'll start feeling a little bit heavier because you're using that for balance. And all your weight is being transferred onto this leg. Okay, so it's a good one for balance, this one, as well as a bit of a cardiovascular exercise for your heart. Well done. Okay, just a few gentle steps, kind of stepping, kind of like getting rid of all that tiredness in that leg that was doing all the balancing work. And then we're going to go to the other side of the chair. Once again, your outside leg, so that's the one that you were standing on before. This time, that's going to be doing the movement, and the other leg is what's going to be supporting your body weight. Remember, the chair is always there for support. So you can hold on tight, you can hold on with just the one finger or two fingers to kind of challenge yourself a little bit more. And those of you that feel even more confident, not holding on at all. Just gently brushing the floor, and even with this one, we're taking the leg a little bit further back than where you were standing. So this would be a standing position, the leg goes a little bit further back, and we're kicking through, so you get more of a swing. Well done. Okay. Just a few more exercises whilst we're at the chair. If at any point you do want to go and sit down on the chair and have a bit of a break, absolutely fine. You can pause it, have a bit of a break, and then you can come back standing behind the chair. Okay, this next one we're going to get used to. We're just going to practice walking in all different directions. So the chair is always going to be there. It's going to take a step to the side. We're going to step forwards. Okay, we're going to step across the front of the chair. Also practicing walking backwards, taking steps backwards, and then back to behind the chair. So we've walked like a square or rectangle around the chair, and we've incorporated the sideways movement, forward movement, sideways again, and then also walking backwards. So at all times we're facing forwards. Okay, so we'll just do 3 rounds of the chair. Walking backwards, facing forwards, side. Just make sure you've got enough clearance from the chair. So even here I'm walking slightly past the chair. Remember, the chair is always going to be there for support if you do need it. So walking slightly past the chair so that when you do the sideways movement, you're not going to kick and kind of trip over the chair. So you go a little bit further past the chair, sideways movement. Once again, have a quick look over your shoulder just to make sure you've got enough clearance. And taking that step backwards, behind the chair. Sideways movement, walking forwards, sideways, and then walking backwards. Okay, one last time. So remember, the chair is always there for support if you do need it. Those of you that might struggle a little bit, you know this chair is always going to be there. Brilliant. Well done. Back to your walking. Okay, and whilst we're out of the chair, we're just going to do a couple of muscle strengthening exercises whilst we're out of the chair before we move on to the band work later on, and that's going to be focusing on your muscles as well. But these ones, whilst we're out of the chair, we'll work on our big leg muscles. That's so important for balance and for everyday movement. Okay. So the first one, going to have his feet slightly wide, looking toes slightly pointing out, and what we're going to do, we're just going to imagine there's a chair behind us, and we're just going to do like a squat exercise. Okay, so we're bending from the knee, from the hip, pushing our bottoms back, and then pushing up. Okay, keep your heels on the ground, keep your feet flat, and push the ground so you come up. Okay. Those of you that need a chair, absolutely fine. So you can just slide your hands down the side of the chair. Okay, sideways on. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the side. The feet slightly shoulder width apart. Imagine there's a chair behind you and you've got to sit into it and then push yourself back. And one last one. Well done. Ooh, it's got me warm. Sweaty. Okay, so we could be using big muscle groups and we're using them in a more load-bearing way, which is why our heart rate gets a bit faster, we get a little bit warmer when we're doing such exercises. Okay, next one, we're going to be working our calf muscle. Okay, so we're just going to have our feet together. We can use a chair for this one. Okay, I'm just going to tiptoe up and down. So this is where, if you remember in the warm-up, we did the ankle rotations, the ankle exercises, and that loosening up around the ankle joint will help us get a bit more movement in this exercise. This exercise is also really good. You can, if you do it on a step at home, because what you can do is you can kind of go below the level. At the moment our feet are flat, so what you can do is you can get your ankle to go below the step a little bit, and then that's tiptoeing from that point. It's a bigger range of movement, so you're working the muscle even more. Okay, and you can also hold on to the wall either side of the bottom step if you want to do it there, for balance. Remember, the safety comes first, and balance is very important. Just a couple more, and one last one. Okay. With that particular exercise, so we did it with both feet together down to the ground. Okay. What you can do is you can do it single-legged as well. So you can tuck one of your leg, just resting slightly behind your ankle and your heel, or behind your heel. Okay, and from there you can just do single-legged calf raises. So this is a lot harder because it's just the one leg that's doing the movement. It's pushing the same body weight up. Okay, remember to do it on both legs so we get an equal workout. Although with certain conditions you might find that certain legs or certain limbs are stronger than the other. That's absolutely fine. We can just try and get an equal workout. Well done. Okay, so that was our cardiovascular element of the workout. Okay, I'm going to be moving on to our strength workout. Okay, so that's really good work, guys. Okay, we're on to our final element of the workout. Okay, we're going to do a strength workout in this one. Okay, so we've got an exercise band here. Okay, it's like an elastic band. It can come in different kind of resistance levels. So you get some that are not as tight and taut, and you get some that are really quite strong. Okay, so we are going to start off with our lower body. Okay, so we're just going to tuck the band under your foot and have it under the ball of your foot, so towards the front part of your foot. From there, we're going to lift the leg up. Okay, and we're just going to push down. So we're doing kick downs here, so we're kicking down against the resistance of the band. If you find as though that's too heavy for you, you can hold the band a bit higher up, so it's not as much resistance on there. But then the opposite to that, if you feel as though that's too easy for you, you can make it a bit harder by coming a bit lower down, holding the band even tighter, and then you're adding more resistance to the band. So it's like as though we're pushing a clutch pedal in. So you're kicking down. What you don't want to do is from there, you don't want to just straighten your leg and kind of like going from a flexed and a bent knee position to a straight. What we want is from there we're really kicking downwards. One last one. Okay. Keeping with that same exercise, we're going to do it on your opposite leg. Same again, placing the band around the front part of your foot, so under the ball of your foot. We're lifting the leg up from the hip, and from there we're kicking down, working against that resistance, as though we're pushing, like clutch pedaling, like, when we're driving. And if you remember, we're not doing just bent leg to straight, we're actually kicking down. Just a couple more. Well done. So whilst we've got the band here, what we're going to do is we're going to place both our feet onto the band, so we've secured it from there. And then from there, we're going to keep the back straight, and we're just going to lean slightly forward. So I'm just going to show you sideways on. This one. So you've got both your feet placed in the middle of the band. Okay. So that's sitting nice and straight, we're just going to lean forward. So we're not rounded in the back, we're leaning straight forward, okay, from the hip, and then from there with the band, we're just going to pull to the side. So here we are working the muscles in the side of the back. So we're doing like a rowing action. Okay. Try and keep your elbows tucked in. Okay, so try not to have your elbows coming out like that. We're going to keep them as close to our body as possible as we go in past the side of the back. Just keep your back straight. You're not going to slouch, you don't want to have too much of a curve in the back. It's a natural curve in the back, leaning forwards, and we just put it on the back. Okay, keeping our feet on the band, next exercise, what we're going to do is do a bicep curl. Okay, so what we're doing from there is the elbow joint here. Okay. We're just going to try and get our wrist to come up towards our shoulder. Just a movement of the elbow. We're not doing a movement from the shoulder, just from the elbow, a 90-degree bend against the resistance of the band. If that resistance is too hard for you, you can hold the band a bit higher up, and that's less resistance on the band. Okay, working the other arm as well. Trying to bring your wrist up towards your shoulder. Try and have that nice straight back. Not slouching, not leaning forward or rounding the back. Nice and straight. And just doing bicep curl. Well done. Okay, taking the band out from under your feet. This time, we're going to place the band across the front of your thigh. Kind of get it equal on either side. Keeping your knees close together, we're just going to wrap the band from underneath your leg. Place it across the top and just put your hands on top. I'm just going to show you front direction, what that looks like. So feet together, wrapping the band, placing it on top of your thigh first, wrapping it from underneath, and placing your hands on top. Okay, from there, your feet are going to stay together, and what we're just going to do, we're just going to push against the band outwards, and we're working the muscles in the outer part of your thigh. Nice, slow, controlled movements. As you push out against the band, that band is trying to push our legs back together, so when we come together, when you release it, Once again, don't release it really fast, try and control that movement as well. If you find that's too tight and maybe you don't want to wrap the band as tight, you can just kind of wrap it around a bit more looser. Okay, and if you've wrapped it too loose and you want to get a bit more of a harder workout, you can wrap the band a bit tighter. Okay, well done. Moving on to the next exercise. So with this one, we're going to do the opposite to that. So we've worked the muscles on our outer part of our thighs. Now we're going to do the inner part. Okay. For this one, it's probably better if you have like a soft ball at home. Okay. But we can use the band for the exercise. Okay. So we're just going to wrap it up, or you can scrunch up into a ball. Try and get like a really small square or rectangle. And from there, placing it in between your knees. Okay, like I said, it's better if you do it with a ball, a soft ball, and you can squeeze against the ball. So with this one, just against the band, just going to squeeze, hold for a few seconds, 3, 2, 1, and then release. When you've got the band, don't release too much so that it drops to the ground. Okay, we're just going to try it. When you release it, so squeeze, 3, 2, 1, and then when we release, we've still got the band in between the legs. Okay, saves having to pick you up every time. Okay, otherwise that would be an exercise in itself. And again, squeeze, 3, 2, 1, and so when you squeeze, you should really feel it pulling on the inner part of our thighs, and we'll be really using those inner muscles of our thighs. Okay, and again, squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Release. And again, squeeze. 3, 2, 1. And again, squeeze. 3, 2, 1. And one last time. 3, 2, 1. And okay, well done. So that's our legs done. We have done a bit of arm work out as well, whilst we had the band towards the ground and we had our feet placed on the band. This time, we're going to wrap the band. So you're going to kind of pass between your back and the back of the chair, and then just kind of slide the band up. Okay. And the band's coming out from under our arms. Okay. And this time we're going to be working our chest muscles, shoulders, and also tricep muscle as we do the chest press exercise. So we're just pushing the bands forwards. Okay. If you want with this one, you can do single arms, so kind of like punching forwards. You might find you have more control and you can kind of go a bit further as you do the single arms. Or you can do both arms together at the same time. And once again, slow, controlled movement. And well done. Okay, so we've worked our chest. We're going to work the opposite to that, so we're going to work our upper back this time. So we're going to place the band across your thighs. Okay, so we're going to be working our upper back and the back part of our shoulders. Okay. From there, we're going to grab hold of the band. Okay. So with this one, the closer you hold the band, the harder the exercise will be. And this exercise is a little bit more difficult because it's not a natural movement that we do on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to have my hands placed slightly apart. Okay. If you find it a little bit too difficult, you can hold it even further apart, and that will make it a little bit easier. So with this one, what we're going to be doing, we're going to keep our arms at this height. We're going to let them drop, so we'll keep them at this height and keep them there throughout this exercise. So what we're going to do, we're going to split the band apart and go into like a lateral movement with our arms. Yeah, so arms are going to be on either side of us in a straight line, like so. And try not to, if you do need a bit of a rest, you can kind of shake your arms out. But once again, in this position, from there we're going to push out. Okay. Try not to go in a like a where you're not getting like an equal kind of pull on it. So we're going to have this nice and straight, horizontal at all times. And as you split it apart, it's going to come towards your chest. Also, don't let it drop. Okay, try and keep your arms nice and high in line with your shoulders. And this one is a bit of a tough exercise. Okay, and for the last one, once we've got it apart, we're just going to hold for 3 seconds. So 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Well done. So that's quite a bit of a tough exercise. So really well done for being able to do that throughout. Okay. Last couple. So we're just going to wrap the band up. And this particular exercise you might even be used to at home. Okay, you might do this all the time. You're going to use it as a cloth, and there'll be wringing the cloth out. Okay. So really good exercise for the wrists and the forearm. It's really important that we keep these strong and working as much as possible, because there's so many of our normal day-to-day tasks that involve using our hands and wrists and forearms, so even simple things like, turning the handle of the door, pushing the doors, pulling the door, even just making a brew kettle. So, really important that we kind of do hand and forearm arm exercises. Just wringing the cloth out. And then keeping with the hand and the forearm. So we do is kind of scrunch up into like a bit of a ball. And imagine it's like a stress ball or something. We're just going to squeeze on the band. So 3, 2, 1. Release. And again. 3, 2, 1. Release. And again. 3, 2, 1. Release. And again. 3, 2, 1. Release. One last time. 3, 2, 1. Release. And the opposite hand, same again. So we're squeezing and release. And squeeze again. So 3, 2, 1. Release. And again. Release. Last couple. So squeeze. Release. And one last time. 3, 2, 1. Release. Okay, really well done. Just before we finish, we're just going to be able to cool down and stretch certain muscles that we can. Okay. We'll just get a bit of a movement into before we stretch off. So we're just going to do some breaststroke arms, just gentle breaststroke arms. Switch that to a front crawl. Because if there's a bit of tiredness in there from doing the strength exercises, we're just loosening up those joints just before we stretch them. Okay, so with our stretch exercises, we're just going to place our hands into our lower back. To your lower back. Try and squeeze your shoulder blades together, pushing your chest forward. And we're just stretching our chest muscles. And just breathe through your stretches. It shouldn't be like a really strenuous, tense exercise. It's nice and gentle. And then the opposite to that, so hands together. So you push them as far away as possible. Chin to chest, and look it down. And just stretching the upper back muscles here. Shoulder exercise, shoulder stretch, arm across your chest, pulling it in closer towards you. Okay, and this opposite arm, so same with arm across your chest, pull it in closer towards you. Okay, and with our leg exercise, so one leg out, toes pointing up, we're just resting on the knee and leaning forward, so we're stretching the hamstring muscle there. Remember to breathe through the stretches and relax. And the opposite leg, same again, straight out, toes pointing up, leaning forwards. Okay, and that's your chair exercise class. Thank you very much for joining in and tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you.